So, fellow Kryptonians, we're back with Superman and Lois Season 2, Episode 13, but now we're on another break for, well, a week, but 2 weeks from this moment, I guess, until we get that next episode. So, no episode next week, and then the following week, we're back with another episode, and then another episode, which will end Season 2. And of course, since we're nearing that finale, this episode took really big steps towards it, so we're just going to dive right into it. Let me know all of your thoughts, all of your theories, of course, down in the comments. I read every single one, so dying to see where you think all of this is going to end up. Like the video, it really does help me, so I'd really appreciate that. It helps this video get out there in that weird-ass YouTube algorithm. But right at the beginning, we have some flashbacks, and I was hoping this would give us a little bit more for Allie, because, long story short, if you've heard my recent opinions on just Allie overall, I don't really think she's that awesome of a villain, personally. Allie, I feel like we've needed, with regards to some kind of flashbacks or something, some journey as to why she's got here. I mean, of course, you can say, like, I'm bad because I'm bad, or like, I'm a cult leader and I'm brainwashing people because I believe it kind of thing. But it's just a bit one-noted. I feel like I wanted some kind of backstory into what really propelled her into where she's got. And these flashbacks this episode were more about Lucy. It's just when they first opened and we saw her doing that book signing saying, you know, her parents died when she was young. And this is what I mean. It's like, I've wanted more context, but we only get it in spoken words. Now, granted, we did get those flashbacks of when she was a little girl and she got the pendant because her parents passed away, but that wasn't really a whole lot of substance as to what really propelled her into becoming the person she was, you know, becoming. She said she had trouble hanging on to work. She says, don't get me started about my love life. Just ultimately, bottom line, that is the curse of being incomplete. And that's really it. That's really it. And she's now this person who's got from point A to point B, and point B being God mode-like and willing to merge worlds, you know, do horrible things. And I don't know, maybe some of you think I might be being a bit too harsh on this. I just feel like she lacks a little bit. I like to, I think for me, actually, I do like to, even when a villain is most certainly a villain, is to see some kind of side of theirs and empathize with them to some degree. And I guess you could say that the writers have tried to give her some things there, because a lot of people can relate to maybe feeling not fully complete in some way, shape, or form. But I feel like they haven't made her multifaceted enough for me to have that connection, if that makes sense. Lucy, I'm still not a huge fan of. I think it's just because she's had all the opportunities now, and it's got up to the point of Superman basically dying because he was flatlined at the end of this episode, and now coming back. I mean, it's just now I'm thinking, Lucy, you would hope that this time you're going to have your ducks in a row and actually be back to reality. Now, I do get what they're doing here. It is a really real-life situation, how people can be brainwashed, and time again keep getting further and further away from people like Lois and Sam Lane, trying to reel them back in. So they do reflect a bit of reality there with her, and I guess that's the point of her character, to be a little bit irritating at points. And these flashbacks this episode more or less just try to explain how she's always been living out of a suitcase, or then she got like a flat, and, you know, she got a job, and how Allie was there each step of the way, and Dad, who hasn't really been there much at all the whole life, wasn't there, of course, and Lois was being the sister, of which cast a shadow over Lucy. Again, I just, I don't know what it is. I'm just not really mega invested in this. I mean, there's nothing really inherently wrong about it. I just like, okay, well, there's Lucy's flashbacks, and this is what got her to where she is now. Did this episode justify those flashbacks? I suppose it did, because you think, okay, why is Lucy Lane, Lois's sister, like really this far gone? And they wanted to give you a reason for that, but I don't know if I found the reason massively compelling enough. And what I'm saying there is to go through the extent of what she's done this season and what she's even done this episode. And I know, obviously, they're going to walk back on it now because she's seen that Allie is a monster. I guess for me, it's just like, I kind of would be surprised if everyone's like, oh yeah, I love Lucy Lane, such a great character, my favorite character, I'm so invested in these flashbacks. You know what I mean? I just don't really feel that. I can't really articulate it too much more than saying something like that. I feel sorry for the kids, and this is kind of continuing on the Lana storyline where I'm a bit about it, and that's that they have to ignore, I guess, the Cushings, even though they go to school with Sarah and stuff like that. Ultimately, it was a bit of a learning curve for Jordan this episode, and I definitely really liked where things went that way between Clark and the kids. This episode was a bit about, I guess you could say, reconciliation on, you know, the father to son's part with Clark and the boys. Jonathan as well, even though that didn't end so great for Jonathan, with him still feeling a bit somber there. And also John Henry Irons with Natalie, because he found out about the suit. He was like, nope, this isn't happening. There's definitely context there. He's lost his wife before. The last thing he wants to do is lose his daughter. But then it kind of went from A to Z. Instead of A to B to C, it went A to Z. It's like, oh no, we're decommissioning this. And then, oh no, we're now going to face a god together by the end of the episode, and you're going to come out flying with me. That's definitely, I don't know, if anyone wants some lessons from Natalie as to how to, like, talk your parents into something, well, that is it. She just convinced her dad to go from, like, taking apart the suit. No, actually, come out, fly with me, and we're going to face up against a god who Superman can't really even take out. Granted that their suits are protective, and I like how, you know, they displayed how her suit is more superior to his. And not that I didn't think that Natalie would be in the suit, by the way, but it's just like last episode, they kind of made it seem like Jonathan was going to be the one wearing it, at least for the time being. Because she was like, oh, yeah, I was going to have it, but, like, you know, you could have it, especially with your doppelganger out there. But he hasn't had it, and now Natalie has got it, and it seems like she really suits the suit, if that makes sense as well. Like, she was a badass, and we'll talk a bit more about that later. But back onto Clark, I found Tyler Hoechlin's scenes here really, really good. Especially that scene with Jonathan in the barn. I think it was exceptional. Like, moments like this where you can tell that Tyler is a really good actor in of itself. I mean, I already knew that, but here his voice was cracking up. It wasn't that kind of fake crying-y situation that some actors might do. You know what I mean? They're kind of disingenuous where you can't really get absorbed in the sincerity and sentimentality of the lines that are being delivered. But here with Tyler, he was really, like, emulating the fear of being a parent, trying to make Jonathan understand. He explains how he was never mad, and this is a storyline that's been going on between them two for quite some time, because that friction between them has been developing for more or less the whole season now. But the very line I'm talking about that was really, really good and makes me so happy that Tyler Hoechlin is the Superman we've got right now in live action. It's when he said, just as a parent you care so much about your kids and I want to protect you from everything, but I have to learn to let you make your own mistakes. Just like everyone else, and that's really hard. But I promise you, I'll always be here for you when you do. Like, it really made me tear up, and again, I don't think the lines in of itself did that. Sure, that was, you know, half the recipe. The other half, I have to really give it to the really good scene that was, and the delivery by Tyler, and just how great of a Superman and Clark Kent that he is. And they doubled down on that this episode a bit later on with the Jordan scenes. Like, that was just, I love that. I wish we had more of things like that this season. Somebody made a comment, I do apologize, can't remember who it is right now, that don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying season 1, but I think I prefer season 1 in the same vein that they were saying, with that there was a lot more Jonathan and Jordan brotherly scenes, there's a lot more kind of Clarky, kind of wholesome, you know, like this scene right here, there's a lot more of that last season that I feel like they didn't really fully capitalize on in this season, and seeing moments like this, it's just like, man, I wish we got a bit more of this like we did in season 1. But talking about Jordan, he went to go see Miss Cushing, good old Lana, and she was, like, no, you can't tell her. But I love her. It's not about love, Jordan. No, but like, I get it, guys. I do get it. I get some of your comments last week as well, but I still don't really like what they did last week. She's saying if Sarah knows your secret, it puts her whole life in danger. A part of me, it kind of makes me think, because she was like, oh, you know, why didn't you tell me back then? Like, as if she wanted to know with regards to Clark's secret back when she was a kid. It's almost like, because she didn't know, well, then my daughter can't know either, you know, because I had to not know the secret for all these years. I mean, I'm not really saying she's as petty as that, even though at the end of the episode with Kyle, she did say that every decision that she's making recently seems to be wrong, and that all these secrets are amounting up, and that, you know, her judgment just seems to be a bit off. So I don't know if that is like some kind of good sign that maybe she might loosen a little bit and maybe come to terms eventually with this. And this right now is just her doubling down with her recent frustration. And I'm not saying Lana hasn't been thrust into situations that have warranted her frustration. I mean, for crying out loud, she's been going through what she has with the marriage and stuff like that. She's been through a lot of crap that I think anyone would have quite a threshold met by now. So I do get a part of it. I just don't agree with everything they've done, like last episode with Lois and just blaming her for everything. And then after that, Clark overhears all of this with Jordan, and this leads to easily probably my favorite scenes in the episode, and that is when Clark takes Jordan to the fortress and it's like, hey, let's do some training. And essentially he brings Jordan to this like deep kind of crack in the ice, and it goes deep, 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 deep. And you have to kind of take the leap of faith. And obviously, I guess deep down that your dad, Superman, would catch you if you don't end up flying. But still, imagine being Jordan, even with power, like, to take the courage and jump off, even though you're probably going to be fine. That must take, like, if you really emulate yourself in that situation. And he keeps falling and falling, but this was perfect. This was one of those moments where they really nailed the editing. We have Clark just watching him as he's falling. You can do it. Come on, Jordan. And then that little scream of, come on, Jordan. And then, he launches into flight. It's so happy seeing Clark get that kind of happy nerdy. I feel like we saw a bit more of that in season 1, and especially a bit more at the high school games, I suppose, when he was being a coach. Such a great Superman Clark moments in this episode. Then he's going way too fast. Clark has to grab him. They both land, and it's like, can we do it again? He's like, yes, we'll go through my favorite flight pass. I used to call it the Kessel Run, and Jordan's just like, what's that? And Clark's disappointment is just like, God, clearly Jordan doesn't really watch Star Wars or isn't really a big fan, but I love how Clark also called it the Kessel Run, one of his favorite flight path in and around that area. But this is a big thing as well, just to make sure we talk about this, that Jordan can now fly. Granted, he might be a bit newbie with it, but this opens up a lot more opportunity. Now there is some competency to it, you could say, so this can definitely lead to a lot more opportunities in future seasons, whether that comes to saving people, getting to places even quicker. And I feel like they're trying to springboard that, so, as we're getting closer to season 3, he's even a lot more further along. But long story short, with Lois and Papa Lane going to see Lucy, Allie arrives. There was a little bit of, confrontation with regards to them, finally maybe getting somewhere together right before that, but when Allie arrives, it kind of puts that all off on the floor, because, there's proof that she's a god now, she's flying, she's floating. This is where things get even messier. So Lucy is, completely taken back by this. We have some conversation between Lois and Allie. I like the little reference of, it's not like I have some red Superman phone, although that might not be a bad idea. It kind of got a bit more revealed, I suppose, especially with the ending scene, that the other way to merge everyone together is no longer the pendant, because some people were thinking maybe with her power and draining people like Inverse Tauro at the end of last episode, she could merge the pendant back together, but now she's just got to pull both portals and thus the Earths together to kind of merge everyone all at once, I suppose. Poor Papa Lane starts getting drained, and I have a little bit of an issue with this whole draining thing, because he's getting drained, and eventually obviously Superman gets drained, and I'm thinking if people get drained, then surely their powers shouldn't be given back to them, because if power is taken away, or life force in this case, you don't just get that back, it's just it's taken. Love how Jordan splats on the floor, by the way. But yeah, also Jonathan, it's just so you did some training without me. I've just been doing all the chores. You've been flying. Great. Imagine how this is something that echoes all the way back to season 1. It's sure, he doesn't have powers, but they didn't ask. They didn't, see if he wanted to be there. Sure, that might have rubbed it in even more. It's oh yeah, Jordan's flying, but I can't fly, and you're gonna watch that. Either way, it's a bit of a bad look, and he was just going to walk off and have a shower. So I wonder where that's gonna lead, because he's still kind of a bit upset about all of this. But anyway, back on point. Clark hears the alarm, comes in, starts getting drained himself. Now, back to the inconsistency. At the end of last episode, we saw Inverse Tauro getting drained, and she was, doing that, and then, it didn't really cut to different scenes. She was doing it, and, he was turned Indiana Jones carcass-style drained, within a matter of seconds. Yet here, of course, it takes a lot longer. Even Sam Lane lasted longer than the Inverse Kryptonian Tauro did. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Yet with Clark, he's getting drained the whole time, a lot longer than Tauro. He doesn't even end up looking like he's been drained like they did back in the old movies. Do you see what I mean there? I mean, sure, some people might regard this one as nitpicky, but I'm just like, you know, if you're draining people and it kills people like Inverse Tauro within a handful of 5 to 7 seconds or whatever it was, then be consistent with that, because now you're doing it to Superman for all this time. Sure, I guess you could argue maybe Superman's stronger, but then what about Sam Lane? He lasted longer than Tauro. And to the point of where Superman did die, he flatlined. Yet again, I know I keep mentioning this, he looked kind of hideous with kind of the highlighted veins, but his face wasn't all hollow. Now, yes, I know, in real life reasons, they're not going to kill Superman, even though they technically did kill him. But this is where, oh, good thing that Chrissy came along, because I kind of forgot to mention this, that she, well, obviously came along because she could tell that Lois had been lying about a few things. You know, Clark went on the assignment, she found out through Lana. It's like, well, what, assignment for me? Well, I didn't know about that. Clark's not working here. She was looking at Clark's resume. She said, oh, this is going to lead to some awkward questions. I wonder where that's going to go. But she called Sam Lane's DOD line or number. John Henry Irons picked that up, came in with Natalie. I do want to mention that earlier on in the episode as well, he said that he wanted to figure out why the suit protected him. So I feel like, with regards to getting drained, so I feel like they're going to try and apply that to someone, or maybe even Superman's suit or something, whatever it was that prevents Ali from draining when that, you know, steel suit is equipped. Maybe they could emulate that onto Superman and other people so he can go up against Ali without getting his life force drained. Extremely lucky that Natalie was able to defibrillate Superman and his heart started beating again, but he's now, it's not really a massive tropey thing, and I don't think they're gonna like drag this one out, but it is something that we've seen quite a few times before where Superman is more or less human now because they've been able to do his blood work because his skin isn't impenetrable after being drained of power. The promo for next week's episode shows that he's more or less taking a sick day. I was just thinking, well, I don't think they're going like proper, like, oh, Clark's a human now, but it more resembles depowered cells to such a human state to that of Kryptonian. It's just like flying close to the sun, because we have John Henry Irons' steel suit, and I'm sure Natalie's suit is capable of it, since obviously they said and acknowledged that her suit is superior. So I did think, well, if you're flying him away, fly him up to space. Get him to soak in the sun. Like, that would do something. I'm not saying it would have restored him to, like, 100% health. But, you know, that's the first thing I would have thought that the characters would have tried to have done to help heal Superman, since that is the very thing that is the best for him, really. John Henry Irons says, oh, we all need to step up, and that's where I guess the super kids are coming in, since, oh, Natalie's got a suit. I guess Jonathan is using that suit as well. It'd be pretty cool if he had another suit made for him. We have frickin' Superboy who can now actually fly. So I feel like they are, you know, kind of getting everyone together, ready to go up against Ali. But obviously, we need Superman back because Ali is getting insanely powerful, to the point of the end of the episode. She's instructing Lana to kill Superman just in case he isn't dead already. And in the meantime, hey, I'm going to merge the Earths together. So was this the moment where she was actually doing it? Because we've still got 2 more episodes. So I guess she's just starting the process, because otherwise, if she's like, you know, pulling both sides of the rope together, so to speak, it looked like she was just bringing both portals closer and closer together. But I am left wondering, like, how long is this going to take? Because it looks like if she carried on for another 10 seconds, it just would have been done. The characters might start noticing, hey, like, wait, what's going on? Like, are we merging? Is the whole planet merging? And they really need to then just take Ali out. But how are they going to do that? And how is this season truly going to end? Are they going to tease Jonathan's powers in the final episode? Of course I had to put that one in there. Even if they drag it out for future seasons, I had to put that one there. You know, is Sarah going to find out about Jordan? How exactly is Ali going to be stopped? Will it be something to do with the thing that protected the steel suit from getting John Henry Irons drained himself? So all these little questions floating up in the air. Would love your thoughts down in the comments below. Overall, this episode was like okay for me. I wouldn't say it was great and blow me away, but there were scenes within it that were some of my favorite scenes of this whole season, for sure. That's one thing I will definitely say. So like the video if you did enjoy this, guys. Would really appreciate that support. Share this video with your friends, and do know that you can follow me on Twitter, and links in the description. My Twitter link is there, my Discord link, and other places to support me. There's super thanks on the channel, a join button, and a merch store link down in the description, just in case you want to go the extra mile to support the channel. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you Kryptonians in the next video, which will kind of be the week after next when it comes to Superman and Lois.